feel comforted in knowing that there are other people out there who deal with tough things too, and that it's okay, we're all only human. Hi everyone, my name is Laura. Welcome to my channel. Here we talk about mental health, minimalism, lifestyle, and anything else that kind of takes my fancy, which we will actually have some of coming soon. Today I wanted to start by talking about mental health, and specifically 6 signs I ignored for years that indicated that I probably needed to seek help for my mental health. So just a warning, today's video will be covering a few different topics related to mental health, obviously, including anxiety, depression, and some discussion around disordered eating and disordered exercise. So if those topics are not going to serve you on your journey today, if you're not in the right place for those things today, please feel free to skip this video. So fair warning on that. What I talk about today may really resonate with you, or it may not at all. The things I want to talk about are in no way meant to be used to diagnose mental health issues. It's just meant to provide another perspective on what mental health issues, specifically anxiety, can look like for different people. I do have my laptop down here, which I will be referring to throughout this video, so if you see me glancing downwards, that is what that is. Alrighty, so sign number 1 that I ignored for years was being unable to enjoy special events due to crushing perfectionism. Doesn't really roll off the tongue, but that's how it is. So I had a birthday away. This is just one example. I had a birthday away somewhere, and my partner and I wanted to grab lunch just at a cafe. But the only one that we could find that was open, I had been to before, and I hadn't super enjoyed it. So I do need a haircut, so please excuse me if my hair keeps falling down like this. It is booked, so carrying on. The only cafe that we could find was one that I had been to before and not super enjoyed. And that doesn't really sound like a big deal, but for me, I was then just completely overwhelmed with the tsunami of thoughts and just felt this panic of, you screwed up, you only get one birthday lunch and all the places are closed, you screwed up. And it makes me feel really stressed just talking about it. I had to say through that a few times to get it. Yeah, this was really a sign for me that I needed some help to work through some things, because even the good times, like just going out for lunch on my birthday, were stressful and sometimes felt horrible, to be quite honest. So that was one sign for me, was just not being able to relax and enjoy special events because of this crushing perfectionism is probably just the best way I can phrase it. All right, I just need to take a break for uno minuto, por favor. Yeah, Spanish is not my strong suit, because I have green tea and I have this great tea maker. It's got like this little valve thing on the bottom, so you just put it over the cup. It pees into the it pees the tea into the cup, and now it's all done, and it got peed in there, which is great. And now I have tea, PT. Okay, I've moved the laptop here because it was getting annoying. So the second sign that I ignored for years that I maybe needed some help to work through some things was that I would second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth guess every thought that I had. It sounds like I'm being dramatic. Some days it was genuinely every thought. That is the best way I can describe it. Big things, little things, dumb things, things that you didn't even know were things in my head that I managed to overthink. So it's horrible to feel like you can't even trust yourself. And there were times where I couldn't even trust my own instinct, my own first thought on whether I wanted regular or decaf coffee. The amount of stress and brain power it took just to get through the day sometimes was astronomical. Some days I was basically unable to do anything, including doing nothing, because that is doing something, trust me, because I felt like I was screwing up. Other days, and I'd say days now, it can just be random things here and there, where I'm distrusting my own thoughts and opinions and intuition. But those times where I really couldn't get through a day because I was second guessing everything, those were signs that I really needed to seek help. Yeah. Oh, that was a heavy one. Still too hot, which is why I keep sipping it. Third thing that I ignored for years was not enjoying exercise. So context for this, I've never really been someone who enjoys exercise. My family never really did like physical activity together. It's something I wasn't used to. And when I did start exercising, firstly, I didn't realize that I was dealing with exercise-induced asthma. So it meant that everything exercise related was harder for me. And I have these horrible memories of doing PE at school, almost passing out because my body was so full of CO2 and I couldn't get it out of my system. It was horrible. And it got me into this really unhealthy place of pushing myself to exercise even when it felt horrible. Once I was attempting to exercise in a healthier way, trying to trust my body, start slow, try things out, see what worked for me, I was still not feeling good. All of this like endorphin rush that everyone was talking about didn't seem to be a great motivator for me. I still didn't really enjoy exercise even when it was coming from a good place. This really should have been a sign for me earlier than it actually was that something was wrong. This was something that I didn't realize fully until after I had started on anti-anxiety medication, which I am still currently on. I then got back into exercise after being on this medication, and I finally found out what endorphins are, basically. I don't fully understand like what was happening chemically or biologically, where I wasn't getting the effect before and then am now, but I basically feel like my anxiety meds have enabled me to actually benefit from the endorphins now. So I now get that good feeling from endorphins. Exercise is a lot more rewarding and a lot easier, and I feel like I can much more easily be in a healthy place when it comes to doing exercise. So the fact that I didn't have that for years, even though I was being gracious with myself and consistent, that should have really been a sign that something was wrong. Okay, number 4. The thought of having an honest conversation with some of my close loved ones was unbearable. My family is not the best at talking about things. That's probably the best way I can describe this without being unhelpful to anyone around me in real life. The thought of talking with some of my close loved ones about difficult topics was so anxiety inducing for me. It took me a while to realize that I should actually just be able to talk openly about things with these people without it being this really, really scary thing. This was one that, when I say it out loud, seems so obvious, but was just so ingrained in me from a very long time ago. And I'd worked through a lot of different things kind of around this point. So when I did finally start addressing this, it was a really, really difficult kind of sticking point where everything around it had kind of been improved a lot. So this one thing was just stuck there like this really big sore toe. And so yeah, it's taken some time for me to work through how I can go about that and how I can be gracious with myself and the others in my life to realistically work through some of those things and figure out how to have conversations or let things go if the case may be. Number 5, this is an interesting one. So the 5th sign that something was probably wrong and I probably needed help for my anxiety was that I had settled for me going, you know, this is my motto in life, was I'll probably screw everything up anyway, but it's fine, I'll just deal with it. So this was a massive coping mechanism of mine for a long time, and it was really, really clever, but also really not good. I could basically only accept that things would work out because I'm a massive screw up anyway, so there's nothing I can do about that, so I'll just accept it and move on. This was a really hard one to get past. It sounds so silly, but yep, that was my brain for a long time. And it was really hard to move past because this idea of like everything sucks but it's okay, just carry on, is kind of, I think, a coping mechanism that a lot of us use. And I would say that it's not that it's not. I'm not saying that it is totally unhelpful, totally not acceptable. If you have these thoughts, then you should just go throw it out because it's not useful. It can be really, really useful. It can be really useful to get you from A to B if that is a part of your life that you are in, and this is the best thing that you have. Totally. And it's not that I regret it in any way, it's just that after some time I realized that this was no longer serving me and was actually holding me back, even though it had got me through some stuff in probably the best way that I could. I now realize that, hey, this coping mechanism is no longer serving me. How do we get rid of this, and how do we level up to something better? I will say that it's not easy, but finding a good mental health professional who can help you work through that is so worthwhile, and that is what I did, and I'm very grateful for that. Okay, my final sign that I was struggling with my mental health and maybe I needed to seek help was that setting daily or weekly goals felt horrible. I already felt like I was basically screwing up things just on the daily, even though I didn't have evidence for this. So setting more goals felt like setting myself up to fail in even more ways in the future. Often these goals that I was setting or wanting to set or whatever weren't even like actual goals. They were just random expectations that I'd allowed to kind of pile on in my psyche of like, you should be doing yoga and meditating and drinking apple cider vinegar every day and doing affirmations and stretching and running every day, you loser. So in my mind, when I wasn't doing all of these 17 random things that I piled onto my psyche, I was like, okay, you're failing already, so why would you want to add more to that list? That's basically it. I am still somewhat actively working through this. There are a lot of expectations in our society around what you should be doing on a daily basis or on a weekly basis or a monthly basis or whatever. And I feel that a lot of us probably allow those expectations to be piled onto us, and then when we're not meeting those, feel like we are failing. And the best thing that I've learned that I can say for that is that you are only one person, and doing what makes sense for you in your life, in your situation, in your circumstances right now is the most helpful thing. And punishing yourself, being upset with yourself for not being able to do what someone else who lives a totally different life to you is able to do is just not helpful for you and your journey. Okay, so there you have it. Those are the 6 signs for me in my life that meant that I needed to seek help for my mental health. My purpose of this, or my hope, is that this inspires people to maybe look at some things in their life that they feel aren't working as well and figure out if perhaps there are some things that need to be unpacked there. Because I'm sure that if you look back over this list of mine, you may be going, hey Laura, it sounds like there have been some tough times for you. And yeah, there have, and there still are, and there still will be. But the more that we can learn to cope with the different things that life throws at us, and the more that we can take those little assumptions and decisions that we've made in our mind about who we are and who we're not, and just go, you know what, this actually isn't right, and someone who is a mental health professional is going to help me work through this and get to a better place. Fantastic, because that's what it's all about at the end of the day. Attempting through wherever you are on your journey to live the best life that you can. So thank you so much for joining me today. I know that this was kind of some heavy stuff, so I appreciate you sitting through it with me. And I hope that you are doing okay. I hope that you feel comforted in knowing that there are other people out there who deal with tough things too, and that it's okay, we're all only human. So I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you next time. Hi Hazel. Hello girlie. No, not in the face. Not in the face. Hello. Hello.